I used to think the end of the world would be loud. Explosions, sirens, screams. But when it finally came, it was silent. Not peaceful, not beautiful, just silent. That morning was like any other. I was late for work. I burned my toast. My cat knocked over my plant. I remember that stupid little moment. The dirt on the floor, sunlight coming through the blinds, the smell of bitter coffee. Normal life. I sat down, opened my phone. Headlines, politics, celebrities, something about a solar flare. And then, silence. The sound just cut out. No fridge hum, no birds, not even wind. My phone glitched, froze, then turned off. I thought it was a blackout until I looked outside. Everyone was standing still, not frozen, just blank. My neighbor across the street, Mrs. Fields, was halfway through watering her plants. The water just kept spilling onto the ground while she stared straight up. So I stepped outside, and I felt it. The air was too heavy, like the sky was pressing down on my chest. I looked up, and there it was, a massive black triangle, still, silent, no engines, no lights. It didn't fly, it just was, like it had always been there, and we'd only just now noticed. It didn't cast a shadow, didn't move. It was like a void, a hole punched in the sky. I remember backing up into the wall of my house, unable to breathe. My chest was tight. Not from fear, from something else. Like my body recognized it before my mind did. I whispered, "What the hell is that?" And the man next to me, one of my neighbors, replied in a voice I'd never heard from a human. "They have returned." And then he collapsed. Phones stopped working. The power grid failed. Cars rolled to a stop in the middle of the road. Streetlights blinked out. And then we started hearing it. A low, constant hum, like a vibration inside your teeth. I ran. I don't even remember where. But I ended up in the woods just outside town. There were others. Some were crying, some staring at the sky, some bleeding from their noses. A little girl kept repeating, "The stars are opening," over and over and over. Even the animals knew. I saw a deer just stop moving, frozen in mid-step, like time skipped a beat. Birds dropped mid-flight. Insects spun in circles and died. Nature went still before we even understood what was coming. I made it back home by nightfall. I grabbed what food I could and went into the basement. That's when the dreams started. I don't think they were dreams. They felt downloaded, like someone else's memories copied into my head. I saw things I can't explain. Frozen planets orbiting dead suns, beings taller than skyscrapers, made of black bone and soft light. Cities made entirely of sound. And then I saw Earth, our world. But we were tiny, a specimen, a sample in a cosmic library. I woke up gasping for air, and outside, it was still silent. That night, I peeked out the basement window. They were walking in the streets, not the ships, the beings, tall, pale, thin, limbs too long, no faces, only eyes, like twin stars. They glided instead of walked. And when they passed by, my thoughts weren't my own anymore. I could hear them. Not with my ears, with my mind. Their language wasn't made of words. It was made of understanding, and it whispered, "You were never alone." I stayed down there for days. Only came out to scavenge when I absolutely had to. Eventually, I found others, survivors. We lived beneath the city, in tunnels and shelters. We shared the same nightmares and the same realization. They weren't invading, they were harvesting. This wasn't a war, it was a collection process, and we were the product. They don't want technology, they don't want our planet, they want us. To study, to modify, maybe to consume, like ants in a glass box. We kept journals, drew the things we saw in dreams. Some wrote equations. Others drew machines we'd never seen, but somehow understood. There were patterns in all of it, and it felt like we were being used to finish a puzzle that wasn't even human. One night, a man in our group started convulsing. We tried to hold him down. His skin was hot to the touch. And then he smiled. His voice split in two. One human, one not. He said, "They are inside the language now." He didn't wake up after that. Others started changing. One girl stopped blinking. She just stared for hours. Another drew star maps on every surface, and when we asked what they meant, she screamed until her throat bled. Some people started hearing the sky. They'd stop mid-sentence, eyes wide, and say things like, "It's inside the moon," or "They're reshaping the oceans." I looked at my reflection in a broken window. My eyes weren't mine. They shimmered, like static, like they were receiving something. The worst part, I don't feel fear anymore, just connection. A terrible, inescapable pull towards something far beyond Earth. We tried to resist. One man blocked his ears with metal plates. Another blindfolded himself for a week. But it didn't matter. You can't block out a frequency that lives in your blood. There was a woman, Elise, who said she found a way to stop it. She carved circles into her skin and filled them with ash. Said it made her invisible to them. One day, she just disappeared. No one saw her leave. But we all dreamed of her standing on a red planet, smiling at us through static. I think they're letting me stay human long enough to speak, to pass the message along, to open more minds. Because once you hear this, it begins. They say language is the first thing to go. You stop thinking in words. You start feeling in shapes, in rhythms, in meanings that don't need sound. That's what's happening to me now. Last night, I dreamed I was standing on the surface of a planet with no sky. Just layers of memory, floating in the air like fog. I could reach into it, pull out someone's last breath, someone's childhood, and hold it in my hand like a photo. And I knew it wasn't a dream. It was a place. They don't travel through space. They travel through mind space, through the gaps in perception, through the parts of your brain you never use. They aren't coming from the stars. They're already here, just waiting for us to be ready to receive them. I've started to lose time. Sometimes I'll wake up in a different room, with no idea how I got there. My hands stained with ink, my walls filled with new symbols. Sometimes I talk in my sleep. I record myself. Last night I said, "We are the bridge now." I don't know what that means, but I can feel it getting closer. There's a sound I hear constantly now. Not outside, inside. Like a code, playing on a loop. A language I almost understand. A countdown. I don't think they want to destroy us. I think they want us to transform, to evolve into something they can understand. Or maybe something they can use. If this message makes it out, if someone finds it, know this. This wasn't invasion, it was activation. They didn't come to take Earth, they came to take us, and they already have. You might not notice it at first, the silence, the static, the dreams, but they'll come. They always come. Don't look up. Don't listen to the frequencies between radio stations. And whatever you do, don't fall asleep under the stars, because they're watching. They've always been watching, and they're patient, so very patient.